Imagine the hip-hop world standing still as a single notification shatters the internet. 50 Cent, the undisputed king of online trolling and a mastermind of psychological warfare, just pressed upload. But this isn't a meme or a song snippet. This is the forbidden footage, episode 1 of the T.I. documentary that the King of the South allegedly tried to bury forever. The tension is palpable. 4 years. Rumors have swirled around Clifford T.I. Harris. Whispers of cooperation, secret deals, and a mysterious legal history that doesn't quite add up. While T.I. has maintained his expeditiously cool persona, 50 Cent just snatched the crown and threw it into the dirt. As the video starts playing, we see a side of Tip that the cameras were never supposed to catch. His eyes aren't filled with the usual bravado. They are filled with pure, unadulterated panic. What was in those frames? Was it the confirmation of the snitch allegations that have haunted his legacy? Or was it something deeper, a personal secret involving the very foundations of Grand Hustle? 50 Cent's caption was simple yet lethal. The truth is a heavy weight. Tip. Hope you've been hitting the gym. Within minutes, the clip was scrubbed from several platforms, but not before the units downloaded it. The secret isn't just a minor slip-up. It's a bombshell that threatens to redefine the entire history of Atlanta hip-hop. We're talking about a revelation so massive that it could turn T.I.'s closest allies into his fiercest enemies. In this deep dive, we aren't just looking at a celebrity feud. We are peeling back the layers of a decade-long cover-up. Why was this documentary locked in a vault? Why did T.I.'s legal team go into a 2 a.m. frenzy to take it down? And most importantly, what exactly did 50 Cent see that made him decide to go nuclear? Buckle up, because the King of the South is about to face his toughest trial yet. And this time, it's not in a courtroom, but in the court of public opinion. In the brutal world of hip-hop, beef is a common occurrence. But when 50 Cent enters the fray, the rules of engagement change entirely. 50 doesn't just drop diss tracks. He launches full-scale psychological operations designed to dismantle his opponent's legacy brick by brick. For years, the tension between him and the King of the South, T.I., has been simmering under the surface, fueled by whispers of snitch allegations and questionable legal breaks. But the game changed forever when 50 Cent announced he had bypassed security and obtained the holy grail of T.I.'s private archives. The unreleased, raw footage of episode 1 of the T.I. documentary. This wasn't supposed to be a public viewing. Originally, this documentary was T.I.'s passion project, a high-budget, glossy production meant to solidify his status as a street legend who outsmarted the system. It was designed to be his definitive story, his last dance. However, 50 Cent did what he does best. He took his rival's own weapon and turned it against him. By leaking the raw, unedited files of the first episode, 50 exposed the cracks in the armor that T.I. has spent nearly 2 decades polishing. As the leaked footage begins, the atmosphere is initially what you'd expect: luxury cars, the vibrant streets of Atlanta, and T.I. delivering his trademark eloquent monologues about hustle and heart. But as the clock hits the 10-minute mark, the tone shifts drastically. The high-end cinematography gives way to grainy, candid, behind-the-scenes footage that was clearly marked for the cutting room floor. This is the moment where the panic begins. We see T.I. in a confined, dimly lit office, surrounded not by his entourage or fellow rappers, but by high-priced legal consultants and individuals whose faces are intentionally blurred. The secret starts to emerge through the audio. T.I., a man famous for his expansive vocabulary and unflappable cool, is seen pacing the room, visibly sweating. He isn't talking about record deals or movie roles. He is arguing about a paper trail from 2007, the year of his infamous federal weapons arrest. In the footage, T.I. looks at a document on the desk with an expression of pure dread. 50 Cent, who has been mocking this specific moment on his social media, pointed out that this is the exact second T.I. realized his arrangements with the authorities were being documented on camera. The most chilling part of the leak is an audio snippet where T.I. is heard whispering to his lawyer, "If this gets out, the streets are done with me. I won't be able to walk through Atlanta without a vest." This isn't the talk of a man who beat the system through sheer luck. It's the sound of a man who made a deal he thought would stay buried in a federal vault. 50 Cent didn't just leak a video. He leaked a confession of fear. He captioned the clip with his signature dark humor. "Look at Tip's eyes. That's the look of a man who knows the feds kept the receipts." The fallout from this specific 1,000-word segment of the documentary centers on T.I.'s reaction. Almost immediately after the leak, a frantic cleanup operation began. T.I.'s legal team began firing off copyright strikes and cease and desist orders to anyone hosting the video. But in the digital age, once 50 Cent hits send, there is no going back. The footage was mirrored, downloaded, and analyzed by millions within hours. The panic wasn't just in the video. It was happening in real time across T.I.'s social media presence. He hopped on an Instagram Live, trying to explain the context, but his defensive posture and rapid-fire explanations only seemed to validate the leaked footage. What makes episode 1 so damaging is the cooperation agreement visual. For a brief second in the raw files, the camera zooms into a document on the table. While the text is slightly blurry, the official government letterhead is unmistakable. It's a moment that suggests T.I. wasn't just a defendant. He was a strategic partner for the prosecution. This is the ultimate secret that T.I. has allegedly spent millions to keep hidden. In the streets, snitching is a death sentence for your career, and 50 Cent knows that by highlighting this specific episode, he is effectively trying to cancel T.I.'s street credibility permanently. The industry response has been one of shocked silence. Major figures in the Atlanta scene, who have long respected Tip as a pioneer, are now forced to reckon with the visual evidence of his vulnerability. The flow of the narrative shows a clear divide. The polished T.I. we see on TV versus the panicked Clifford Harris we see in the leak. 50 Cent's brilliance lies in his timing. He waited until T.I. was at his most vocal, hosting podcasts and giving advice, to pull the rug out from under him. The leak also reveals the internal tension at Grand Hustle. There are clips of T.I. yelling at his staff about security breaches and who talked to the cameraman. It paints a picture of an empire built on a shaky foundation. The secret isn't just one deal. It's a pattern of behavior where T.I. used his intellect to navigate the legal system in ways his peers couldn't. But as 50 Cent continues to remind his followers, the truth is a heavy weight. As we wrap up this first segment, the stage is set for a total collapse of the king persona. T.I. is no longer fighting a rap battle. He is fighting for his life story. He is trying to convince the world that what they saw in episode 1 was out of context. But as 50 Cent prepares to drop episode 2, the panic is only going to intensify. The secret is out, the footage is viral, and the king of the South is currently standing in a storm of his own making. The aftermath of the episode 1 leak wasn't just a social media trend. It was a cultural earthquake that shook the very foundations of the Atlanta music scene. In the hours following 50 Cent's strategic upload, the silence from the industry's heavyweights was louder than any shout. Usually, when a legend like T.I. is under fire, you see a circle of protection form. Peers, collaborators, and ments coming to his defense. But this time, the circle was nowhere to be found. The footage was too raw, the panic in T.I.'s eyes too undeniable. 50 Cent had successfully isolated the king of the South, leaving him to defend a narrative that was rapidly crumbling under the weight of visual evidence. As we move deeper into the fallout, the focus shifts from the video itself to the paperwork that 50 Cent claims is the smoking gun. In the world of hip-hop, paperwork is the ultimate judge and jury. It refers to official court transcripts, discovery documents, and cooperation agreements that prove whether a person worked with the government. 50 Cent didn't just stop at the video leak. He began posting snippets of what appeared to be T.I.'s 2007 federal case files. These documents, highlighted with 50's mocking red circles, pointed to a specific discrepancy. How does a man caught with multiple machine guns and silencers, while already a convicted felon, receive a sentence of only 1 year in prison? The script of T.I.'s life has always relied on the explanation that he did extraordinary community service to earn his leniency. But the leaked documentary footage in Part 2 shows a different conversation happening behind closed doors. We see a younger, frantic T.I. sitting with a legal team that is explaining the cost of his freedom. The secret that made him panic wasn't just that he talked. It was who he talked about. 50 Cent's commentary suggests that the documentary contains references to high-level street figures who were sacrificed so that T.I. could maintain his career and his grand hustle empire. This is the moment where the King title starts to feel like a costume. The tension escalated when T.I. attempted to fire back. He released a series of videos not from a studio, but from what looked like a home office, looking noticeably tired. He used his typical high-level vocabulary, calling 50 Cent a pathological attention seeker and a viral vulture. But the public wasn't listening to the words anymore. They were looking at the body language. Every time T.I. tried to explain the 2007 case, his eyes would shift, a classic sign of discomfort that 50 Cent immediately pointed out in a follow-up post. The flow of the beef had shifted from a war of words to a war of credibility. Inside the Atlanta hip-hop community, the leak caused a massive internal rift. Sources close to the quality control and CMG camps whispered that artists were being told to distance themselves from T.I. until the smoke cleared. The fear was simple. If T.I. really was a cooperator, then anyone who had done business with him over the last 20 years could potentially be compromised. 50 Cent was playing on this fear, leaning into the paranoia of the industry. He wasn't just attacking T.I. He was deconstructing the entire Grand Hustle legacy by implying it was built on a foundation of government protection. As the narrative of Part 2 unfolds, we see the digital trail of the secret. Internet detectives began cross-referencing the leaked video timestamps with T.I.'s public appearances in 2008. They found a series of interviews where T.I. looked uncharacteristically nervous whenever the topic of his deal came up. 50 Cent's leak acted as the missing piece of the puzzle. It gave context to years of snitch rumors that T.I. had previously been able to dismiss as hater talk. Now, with the raw footage of his panic available for everyone to see, the hater talk had turned into a history lesson. The most damaging aspect of this part of the saga is the revelation of the informant meetings. The leaked footage allegedly shows T.I. entering a building that wasn't a recording studio or a lawyer's office, but a neutral location often used by federal agents for proffers. Informal meetings where a defendant provides information to see if a deal can be made. 50 Cent's voiceover on the leak was relentless. Look at him walking in. He's not going there to record a hit. He's going there to hit the stand. T.I.'s panic reached a boiling point when he realized that the documentary's original producers, people he once trusted, might have been the ones who sold the footage to 50 Cent's camp. This added a layer of betrayal to the drama. T.I. wasn't just fighting an external enemy. He was realizing that his inner circle had been breached. The secret was out, and it had been sold to the highest bidder, or in this case, the most dangerous troll in the game. The industry fallout also hit T.I.'s business ventures. Rumors began to circulate that major brands and production companies were pausing their associations with him. In the corporate world, snitching isn't the problem, but controversy and instability are. By making T.I. look panicked and guilty, 50 Cent effectively hit him where it hurts the most: the bank account. The flow of this segment shows a man who is losing control of his empire, his reputation, and his composure all at once. By the end of this part of the script, the audience is left with a clear picture of a collapsing titan. 50 Cent has successfully moved the goalposts. It's no longer about whether the video is real. Everyone knows it's real. It's about what happens in episode 2. If episode 1 showed the panic, episode 2 is rumored to show the names. And that is the secret that has T.I. looking for an exit strategy that doesn't exist. The King of the South is trapped in a room with his own ghost, and 50 Cent is the one holding the key. As the dust began to settle from the initial leak, the world wasn't looking back. It was looking forward with a sense of morbid curiosity. 50 Cent, ever the master of the cliffhanger, had achieved his goal. He had turned a decade-old rumor into a modern-day digital execution. But the real secret wasn't just in what we saw in episode 1. It was in the threat of what was coming next. The narrative shifted from T.I.'s panic to a much darker reality. The potential exposure of names, dates, and locations that could dismantle the entire infrastructure of the Atlanta underworld. This is where the story stops being a celebrity beef and starts being a dangerous game of survival. In the final days of this digital war, 50 Cent began teasing episode 2. If the first episode was the hook, the second was the knockout. Rumors began to circulate that the second installment of the documentary contained audio recordings of T.I. discussing specific individuals, men who are currently serving life sentences in federal prisons. The panic we saw in the first leak was just the tip of the iceberg. The true secret T.I. was desperate to hide was that his freedom wasn't just bought with community service. It was allegedly bought with the lives and liberties of his former associates. 50 Cent's strategy was to create a ticking time bomb effect. Every hour that passed without T.I. addressing the specific allegations was an hour where his credibility bled out. The script of T.I.'s career had always been about the redemption arc. The man who went to jail, learned his lesson, and came back to lead his people. But 50 Cent's leaks effectively flipped the script into a betrayal arc. We saw the industry's reaction move from shock to a cold, calculated distance. High-profile collaborators who once called T.I. a brother began to go silent. In hip-hop, being a snitch is a contagion. If you stand too close to it, you get infected. This part of the narrative explores the psychological isolation T.I. faced. For the first time in 20 years, the King of the South was standing on a throne that nobody wanted to be near. The final confrontation didn't happen in a club or on a stage. It happened on a split-screen reality. While T.I. continued to post philosophical quotes and videos about rising above the hate, 50 Cent was in the comments section of every major blog, acting as the narrator of T.I.'s downfall. The secret that made T.I. panic was finally becoming clear to the public. It was the fear of irrelevance. T.I. realized that he could no longer control the conversation. His vocabulary, his charisma, and his past hits were no match for a raw video of him looking terrified in a room full of lawyers. The aura was gone. In the age of social media, cool is the hardest thing to get back once you lose it, and 50 Cent had stripped tip of his cool with surgical precision. This segment also dives into the grand hustle fallout. The leak caused a ripple effect within T.I.'s own label. Younger artists, who looked up to T.I. as the blueprint for success, were suddenly faced with a leader whose foundation was being called fraudulent. The documentary footage reportedly showed T.I. advising others on how to navigate the system, but in light of the leaks, that advice looked more like a recruitment pitch for cooperation. The secret wasn't just a moment in time. It was a philosophy of self-preservation that T.I. had allegedly been practicing for years while preaching loyalty to the masses. As we reach the climax of the story, we look at the final revelation. 50 Cent hinted that the documentary was never actually unfinished. It was finished and then suppressed by a high-level legal team because it was too honest. By bringing it to light, 50 Cent didn't just hurt T.I. He exposed the machinery of the music industry that allows certain stars to buy their way out of trouble while the people they grew up with rot in cells. This turned the beef into a social commentary. It wasn't just about 50 versus T.I. anymore. It was about the gatekeepers versus the truth. The script concludes with the permanent shift in T.I.'s legacy. Regardless of whether he ever goes back to jail or faces legal repercussions, the court of public opinion has already delivered its verdict. The image of a panicked T.I. sweating over a paper trail is now the thumbnail of his career. 50 Cent, meanwhile, added another trophy to his wall of defeated rivals, proving once again that, in the digital era, information is more lethal than any weapon. The king has been decrowned, not by a better rapper, but by a better troll who knew that the truth, if leaked at the right time, can be the most devastating diss track ever recorded. The final scene of our documentary script leaves the viewer with a haunting question. In an industry built on realness, how many other kings are one leak away from a total collapse? T.I.'s panic was the sound of a legacy breaking, and 50 Cent was the one who made sure the whole world heard the snap. The walls are closing in, and the King of the South is running out of moves. But now I want to hear from you. Do you think T.I. can ever recover his legacy after this footage? Or has 50 Cent officially ended his reign? Is street credibility still the ultimate currency in hip-hop? Or is it all just a carefully crafted illusion? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'm reading all of them. If you want a deep dive into episode 2 and the specific names 50 Cent is threatening to expose next, make sure to smash that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next chapter of this digital war. 50 Cent isn't done yet, and neither are we. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.